All right, y'all. Welcome to Channel 49 News Break. We got a very special guest. We have been interviewing a lot of people lately. We wanted to talk one-on-one with Carol. Carol have a story that needs to be out there. Carol, first of all, introduce yourself.
My name is Carol Harrison Lafayette. I am one of the founders of Community Step In. We are a
Mhm,
nonprofit organization, and what we do is we bring about mental health awareness.
mhm. Okay, okay. Well, talk to us about your son. I saw the pictures. We can't show the pictures on here, but I saw the pictures, and I was very hurt when I saw the pictures of your son. Take us back to that particular day.
It's just so much that comes to mind when I speak about my son. I do have two sons.
Hmm.
One is 33, and the other one, which is Clayton,
Okay.
who served in this country, went straight out of high school into the military, and his job was military intelligence.
Hmm.
Clayton is now 27 years old.
Okay.
And Clayton had a brain injury where he was in a coma for about 2 months. The doctor
Hmm.
said that he's dead. It was nothing that we could do. The doctors notified me and told me that it would take a miracle if Clayton lived.
Mm.
So I believed that my son would live. I believed in it. I had prayer warriors come. We prayed, and after about almost 2 months, Clayton did come out the coma. And the doctor said that if he lived, that he would become a vegetable. And so when he came out the coma, the only issue is that Clayton was hard of hearing.
Hmm.
And by him being hard of hearing, it has created so much trauma for him with police in Dallas County.
Okay. Wow.
I can think of
So
the first episode.
right. So talk to us about that because you were saying that he was hard hearing when the police was talking to him. Tell us about that. What happened?
Well, his first encounter with the police, Clayton had went to a party that one of his friends were having. And matter
Hmm.
of fact, it would be the first party that he would have gone through after being out the coma. So his
Hmm.
friend invited him, and he went in a Uber. And Clayton was the first one to get here, and his friend asked him to come inside to help.
Hmm.
When she got there, Clayton had walked to the store after the Uber driver dropped him off in Dallas County. And when he walked back, there was a black security officer that was there. And Clayton was trying to let him know that his friend was inside who was giving the party and he was supposed to go inside. Well, the
Hmm.
black security guard was talking to Clayton from behind, yelling at him. And of course, Clayton could not hear. So
Hmm.
he body slammed Clayton, and there was a Dallas police officer that was there, and they both began to assault my son. And they took him into custody in Dallas County Jail. Through that assault, he ended up with 35 stitches where
Hmm.
they body slammed him
Hmm.
at that time, and he had a broken nose. It's right along with stitches. And then it was another episode with Dallas police where he was beaten. He was
Hmm.
actually jogging, and he had an encounter with the police. They were looking for someone else who had burglarized, and Clayton was jogging. And of course, the police surrounded him, began to ask him questions. They began to get very aggressive with Clayton. And Clayton then was apprehended and was beaten and taken once again to Dallas County Jail, where he had his hand broke, and Clayton had to get more stitches. And it's just been repeatedly. He does not have a criminal record. It was not a thing where he had broken the law. It's just been encounters with
Hmm.
police officers where he could not hear. So before the eclipse, Clayton was very overwhelmed. Clayton just wanted to speak with Commissioner John Wiley Price.
Hmm.
And he was just having an anxiety attack about the eclipse. And so what I done was I went to precinct 1 in Dallas to get a mental warrant on
Hmm.
Clay because they had shut down his Instagram page. The
Hmm.
agencies shut it down because of the things that Clayton was talking about the government. And I wanted to make sure that Clayton get on his medication because I
Mhm.
was like, Clay, you cannot go on social media talking about the government and what the government is doing. And
Mhm.
so I went to Precinct 1, Judge Nash. She
Mhm.
issued a mental warrant. I let Judge Nash know that my son suffered from mental health and he also was hard of hearing and
Mhm.
that he was at home in his bed. Okay, at home in his bed. And so the constables did go out and serve the warrant. They went inside the house. I was not inside the house. And they went inside of his bedroom. And one of the constables began to punch my son
Mm.
where his eye was messed up. When I got into the house, I noticed in his room so much blood. It was a
Mm.
lot of blood. I had no idea what had happened. All I know is that I tried to call the constable's office. I tried to call the hospital. They said that they were going to bring him to. They would not give me any information at all. I didn't, and this has happened on April the 4th.
Mm.
I did not know where my son was. And so on April the 7th, my son called me about 10 a.m. in the morning and he says, Mom, can you come and pick me up? I said, Well, where are you, Clayton? He says, I'm off of Buckner in
Mhm.
Dallas.
Mm.
And so I went to go pick him up. And when I saw him, he had a patch on his eye. So
Mm.
I said, What happened to you? And he said, The constable punched me in my eye in
Mm.
the room and they just started beating me.
Oh
And,
wow.
and, and, and he had like an infection, like it was pus coming out his eye.
Mm.
So then we went back to the hospital. And so he says, Well, Mother, I want to talk to John Wally Price, who's the
Mm.
commissioner. I just want to talk to him, Mom. I don't understand why I'm being beat. I don't understand why they treated me the way they did at Parkland. So we made a phone call and we were told by one assistant that John would meet with us. And
Mhm.
then my son had called back and was speaking to the secretary, but she had a hard time hearing him due to the fact that he is hard of hearing.
Mhm.
So we went to the building. We went to the constable building on April the 11th,
Mhm.
and approaching in the building, it was myself and my goddaughter and my godfather.
Mhm.
We were approached by a police security at the building. He asked us to leave. There was no disturbance. There was no anything. He said that the commissioner is not going to meet with us. We don't have an appointment. And that if we didn't leave the building, well, then we were going to be sorry. And he says, leave the building. I didn't understand why we had to leave the building. My
Mhm.
son became very traumatized. He was just simply afraid and was afraid that maybe something bad was going to happen. So he
Mhm.
really became traumatized. And so the marshals came up
Mhm.
and they asked for my ID. They asked him for his ID. And so they kept my ID for 10 minutes.
Mhm.
And then at the same time, the officer was saying, You just need to leave the building. You're bringing this on yourself. We don't have to do this, meaning arrest you from leaving the building. And being that it is a commissioner and it's a public place, I had an issue with the constable, um, uh, knowing that the constable was very transparent and
Mhm.
that we were going to the commissioner and how the commissioner abused his authority. And I'm speaking of Commissioner John Wally Price.
Okay. Wow. I want to talk about this because with you being in mental health and being, doing the training and stuff, what do you want to say to somebody out there? Because there's so many people out here that are tuning into you right now on TV, right here in the heart of New York City. So not only are you being on Newsbreak, your full story is on right now in New York City. And so I want you to just talk to the people that are sitting at home, tuning in to us right now here, are saying, hey, what can I do? What can I do to help? Uh, just talk to the people out there. Because there may be somebody out there right now that's going through the same thing that you're going through in New York. Talk to her. Talk to the people.
For almost 8 years, what we've done is we've certified over 6,000 citizens for free to
Mm,
become a certified mental health first aider. It's an 8-hour training. where we provide the lunch and you come, you don't diagnose, you're not taught to diagnose, but you are type to learn the tools to be able to help someone that's in a mental health crisis.
Wow.
We've taken it on a national level where we have Feel Good Friday, where we have a panel of therapists, psychiatrists, NFL players, and ex-NFL players, and citizens speaking about mental health and what they've endured through mental health. I want to encourage individuals to realize that mental health matters. I want to encourage individuals to realize on a national level that we're seeing police officers where family members are dialing 911 and they are having police officers come out, and we're seeing officers shoot and kill individuals who suffer from mental health. And the training for the first aid mental health, it is important that we stress that it's free so that the family members can realize that you don't have to always get 911 involved, that you can learn these techniques, because it's never an easy task when you have a mother or a father who's down 911 and you have officers come out to kill them. Or slip pain on them, to brutalize them to the point to where they're gonna never get the help that they need, or being traumatized. And so we gotta make mental health not about continuing to give the education about mental health, you all. And it starts with bringing the awareness. It starts with holding the elected officials, holding police officers accountable, and bringing more of the training to it. It takes more than just a 48-hour training. We've got to partner up with nonprofit organizations and leaders to be able to say that I want the individual in my family who we love to get the treatment and not be mistreated.
You know what, Kurt, I got to bring you back on the show. I promise you this won't be your last time on the show, because you are, I mean, just talking to you just now, and I've been knowing you for a long time, I am learning so much. That's why I'm being quiet. But we can go all day because this is an hour show. So, but I just want you to get this out there. Now, let me ask you this. The people that live in New York, are they able to get in contact with you to try to get the class out there?
I'm glad that you asked. I do have a lady by the name. She is the CEO of the Bolton John Foundation. She does live in New York. Her Bolton John, who was killed by Dallas police, she did come. Alicia Finley did come and take the certification training. She is now a mental health instructor, you all, and teaches the mental health. So she will be a great contact to reach out to if you're in New York, to be able to get that certification for mental health.
And you know, you gotta, we cannot go off this area without talking about Robert. He is one of the best supporters you have. Talk about Robert real quick. I know he wasn't expecting us to do it.
Robert himself has been a very good assistant and support when it comes to community step up in the mental health wellness experience. Robert is a survivor. That alone, being diagnosed with cancer, he had stage 3 cancer that turned into stage 4, where the doctor said that he would be dead by June. Robert is alive and well alive. He was also in a coma, and he was considered dead, but yet he is cancer free, and he's had boosts down. He got a chance to go to Las Vegas, Nevada with us for the mental health wellness experience for Feel Good Friday. He's been amazing support with Boost Down saying enough is enough. He actually claimed the other day on Friday to my rescue. He was watching the live video, and he was like, there's no way that I'm going to allow them to arrest you and your son, Carol. So I couldn't help but come to your rescue to say, no, we cannot do this. We only wanted to talk to John Wally Price. We only wanted to talk to the commissioner to be able to, for him to hear from my son who's been victimized and traumatized by being brutally beat and injured severely. And that's all that we wanted to do.
How did that make you feel? Knowing that John didn't want to talk to you and how he treated you. What was going on through your head? What was you thinking that particular day?
I was very disappointed But at that time, being a mother, I was a mother, just seeing the trauma and the look on my son's face of just
Mhm.
having tears in his eyes of all of what he's endured. And so I grew up seeing John Wiley Price. My father was a civil rights leader himself. And at my childhood trauma, I was traumatized very at a very young age that gave me the motivation. I
Mm.
carried the flashlight from my father, who fought in the late 60s and early 70s and 80s. I was sexually assaulted at a young age by the
Mm.
chief of police in the city of Grand Prairie, which is in Dallas County, where I was raised up in. It
Mm.
was just awful seeing my father being brutally beat. It really motivated me to push, to be a voice for individuals, especially making mental health matter and standing up when there's an injustice. And I have been
Mm.
fighting for like this, and just to see my son hurt and be disappointed and re-traumatized, it really, really brought a great disappointment in Commissioner John Wiley Price and the way that the Dallas County Commission office was ran and how they treat individuals who suffer from mental health. And being that I have great boots down in the Dallas and Fort Worth area, all over the state of Texas, the very building that he's located in, over a 5-year period of time, I brought homeless individuals into the building to get their birth certificates so that they can get along and be a part of society to do positive things.
Mhm. Wow. For those who just now tuning in to us, that's turning it on the TV right now in New York, we are talking to Carol, who is a not only a civil rights activist, but she helped with training people that want to take the mental health. But right now, she's been going through so much, and what I don't understand, Carol, is you help so many people. Why is it we can't? Why is it that the people are not there for you, much as you have been there for them? Let's talk about that.
My belief and my faith is in God. The fact that my son was considered being dead um, a few years ago, and the doctors telling me it was just going to take a miracle if your son lives, gives me the same faith. This is like the situation is dead in Dallas County. And the
Mhm.
belief that I have, regardless of anybody that wants to stand up and stand with me, I know the most important that God is. I stand on Matthew 6:33, seeking
Mm.
ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And I do know that everything will be added. The
Amen.
same God that performed a miracle on my son when doctors said that he was dead is the same God that's going to bring the justice that my son needs in the healing of Dallas County. And hopefully it will be a chain effect that these elected officials that we're elected in can take more a look at mental health and get some type of reforms made. Reach out to nonprofit organizations like mine so that we can have programs held available for communities of loved ones who are hurting and been
Yeah.
traumatized just seeing their loved ones go through the injustice.
Well, I tell you what. Thank you so much for talking to us here at Newsbreak. Your story is being played around the world. Shout out to everybody over there in New York City. We on regular TV out there, so people looking at us on cable television out there. And this is the reason I wanted to do your story, not only on Newsbreak, but I wanted your story to get out there on TV. And you have made it official now. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in to us here. Carol, before we let you go, what do you want to say to New Yorkers out there? Because this whole show is being broadcast in New York right now.
If you have a loved one who's going through something, they can dial 988. 988
Mm.
is a number that many people don't know about. They consist of individuals, therapists, social workers that will be able to listen to your outcry. Don't think that you're all alone. If
Amen.
you want and you like to help other people, you can become certified as a first responder for mental health. Mental health
Wow.
is real. Self care is so important. It is okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay in a place of fear. It's not
Mhm.
okay to keep silence when you know that there's an injustice. It's not okay if you know that you're not okay and
Yeah.
you feel like that you have nobody to reach out to. Together we can, and
Yeah.
together we can continue to know that mental health matter, and we have community step in right
Yeah.
here, making it matter on a national level.
I want to ask you one more thing before we let you go. What do you think the community needs to do to really take this serious? Take this serious because so many people out there are having a mental breakdown. My son do it sometimes. So and since he lost his mother, but I want you to talk to the people because it's so many people out there that are dealing with the same thing that you're dealing with. I know I feel your pain because I dealt with it even with my boy. So what you're saying is so true, and there's no help. But how important is it to get the funding? Because I know we need to be able to have the funding that it takes to try to get these programs out there. Let's talk about that real quick.
Okay, and we're going to set aside the funding for right now. Many people have been church hurt. We got to go back to the church. We know that when two or three are gathered, that's the church. But so
Mhm.
many individuals have been church hurt, and we've got to continue to train and teach the pastors, get them certified for mental health, to
Mhm.
embrace those for mental health. If individuals cannot go to the house of worship to find some type of refuge, there has been a major problem with that. In every inner city, you have so many churches, but not enough going into the house of the Lord and
Wow. I think we got cut off. Did we get cut off?
getting the mental health part. We got to break that stigma. And we've got to make mental
Hey,
health matter by speaking out about it and educating in our communities, you all. If you're interested in becoming an instructor, we embrace individuals to become an instructor. But we've got to have these uncomfortable conversations to make it
yes.
matter. Back in the day when we were coming up, what go on in this household is better stay in this household. We don't have to
Mhm.
do that anymore. It's too many resources.
I tell
You
you
don't
what,
have to be
again,
shy.
right. But I tell you what, thank you so much, Carol Harrison, for being with us right here tonight. Y'all can check out this TV show every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the East Coast, on all your cable television all over New York. So again, Carol was our very special guest, and we wanted to take our time to hear her story because her story matters, just like thousands of people who are going through the same thing. Remember, if it is to be, it's up to you. Make a difference. Good night.